Okay. So I've just logged in. Was there anybody that had a specific issue going on with their site that wanted me to masquerade as them and we could jump into that?
Well, I just something that's related to what I talked about before is it just seems really odd to me now that I know about alternate images, it helps. But it seems odd to me that the image you would choose for a page at the top, which is usually more like a banner, then gets converted to a thumbnail, which you don't want to be long and thin. It's,
Okay.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that's a really good point. Between both of the image fields, you can make it work so that whatever is in the thumbnail will be different than what is showing at the top of your page. I think that's kind of what you're getting at. Like
yeah.
if you wanted a banner type image at the top, but that banner probably wouldn't work as a thumbnail, we'd put something else. Why don't I'll just masquerade as our demo user and we can add some images to a page. And so I might actually have, hopefully I have one that's blank here. Let's check out the about page. Okay, I have an image in the body, but I can work around that. We're just going to work with the main image field and the alternate hero image field. Oh, I saw in the chat that a lot of people were looking for the link to this. Would any of you be able to drop the link into the group? I can see about giving that or putting that into the chat. Or if any of you have it handy.
Is somebody doing that?
I appreciate it. I think Maddie is on that. Thank you for
Great.
that. Okay, so we'll get into a new draft here of the About page. I see another chat here. And I'm sorry, I'm just going to take a minute to drop this into the group.
Amaris, it's Mary Jo. So that message that was just in chat, I don't remember seeing that, although I had something on my calendar. So what I did was I kind of went back and then I clicked this Zoom link from a while ago thinking maybe it's recurring. And of course it was. So that's how I lucked out. But I don't know where that message came from that she just saw. But
it looks like,
maybe I just missed it.
Is this Peggy maybe? There is a info@lwvddh.org message that's in the group. I don't know if that was you, Mary Jo.
I did send one, yeah.
Okay.
Just asking where it was. Oh, maybe that was an answer.
Yeah, hi, this is Maddie. I put in the comment because I had the same thing. I was looking for it. And then I went to a prior email and hoped it was a recurring meeting.
Yeah. Thank you for pointing that out, because that definitely is always the fail-safe way. I'm trying to continually use this link and not change the room on us. So yeah, if you ever have trouble, that's the way to go.
Trying to get back into the chat where I was, I saw the people asking about it because I was in there looking for it too.
There we go. And I'm sorry, I think I am having some internet slowness. The page is not loading here for me, and I'm having difficulty loading other pages.
Are you at your house?
I am. I did just get
Maybe
an
you
internet
should-
upgrade, so I don't know.
Oh, really? Oh,
There shouldn't be
frustrating.
any issues today, especially today. But
Are those
sorry
your
about that.
kids?
These are my nephews.
Oh,
I call this, or my sister calls this picture the Mud Boys.
It's cute.
I'm going to see about trying this in a different browser. And I apologize for this delay here.
Well, for us, when we struggle, we're glad we're not alone, because you think,
Definitely.
oh gosh, I must be doing something wrong.
Yeah,
But if
no.
you're having to struggle, maybe we aren't such putzes.
I did just post the link, so
Awesome.
hopefully that will get some more people in here.
We might get some, some last minute joiners, and that's always great. We have slowly been putting our recordings on YouTube. Like we have them already all on the Go-To Stage channel, but then we'll hopefully soon be able to announce that all the recordings are going to be on YouTube, and that makes it easy because you can just Google whatever terms, and as long as you have the word Milo in there, you should have some kind of either written documentation or a YouTube video result. I see a question here. How can we add a timer box for Zoom webinars for candidate forums? Oh, okay. While we're hoping here that my internet will pick back up, for Zoom, I believe that has to do with the one of the paid, well, you probably do have a paid account if you're working with candidate forums. But as far as the timer setting, I'm not sure if that is something extra that you have to enable, but you may try checking out in your general Zoom settings. Let's see if I can bring that.
Yeah, we're doing a forum tonight, and I'm the timekeeper, and I kind of jerry-rigged an actual electronic timer with a webcam, with a black cloth over it, and that's what we're using tonight. I can even show it to you if you want. I'm using that instead of the video of me.
Trying to
keeping it on the screen so that you can see it.
Right. Well, let's see. I was able to get Zoom up. While I have this, and I'm sorry, I'm also checking out the instructions on how to do this at the same time. And so from it looks like the general settings, and it will be either in the in meeting or basic or advanced. Let's check these each out. Let me double check the instructions here. Well, it actually could be within your meeting controls. No, actually, I am not sure. The instructions, unfortunately, that I found are from a previous version of Zoom. Okay, I see the timer. That's for having to create that or make that an offline timer. That is a really good job.
Yeah, it's kind of Mickey Mouse, but I think it looks fairly decent.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that looks great.
Yeah, it should. Well, let's check out the in-meeting advanced settings because I thought that it would have been within the basic settings.
While we're waiting for you to find that, could the people who are on this call introduce themselves? And I mean, everybody
yeah.
seems to be by county, but that doesn't, or town or something, but I don't know where some of these counties and towns are, and I'm kind of curious if we're just sitting here.
Yeah, that is a great idea. Do you want to kick us off, Liz?
Sure. I'm Liz Quigg. I'm from Wheaton, Illinois, and that's outside of Chicago, just about 45 minutes.
This is Tom Donahue. I'm with the league in the city of Riverside, California. It's in Southern California in the county of Riverside.
And I'm Mary Jo. We're very new. We're in Dearborn, which is outside of Detroit, Michigan.
Go blue.
Well, actually, it's kind of funny. There was an article in the New York Times about a city in Oregon called Detroit, Oregon. A very small town.
So now you definitely have to specify state, right?
So I'm Maddie Park. I'm from Ventura County, the League of Women Voters of Ventura County.
What state is that?
Oh, in California.
It's in
Ventura, it's north of Los Angeles and south of Santa Barbara, Ventura.
Oh, you said Ventura? Ventura?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We're on the coast,
Yeah.
no less, mostly.
Yeah, I took a limo from the Los Angeles airport to Santa Barbara.
Oh, okay, so you drove through Ventura.
Right.
I would be looking at the ocean, except it's a little foggy this morning.
Oh, poor you.
I know, I'm crying crocodile tears, but.
Well, you have your fires, though. You have your fires.
Well,
right?
Yeah, I mean, the air has been, I haven't smelled the smoke, but everything's kind of yellowy orange everywhere, every day. It's definitely made a big difference everywhere.
Mm.
So after looking at the full settings of Zoom, I wasn't able to identify it easily through just the in-meeting, definitely wasn't under email notification, and then other. So you might even get some luck if you ask that in the Google group. It might not be Milo related, but because our Milo webmasters are probably kind of the same people in the leagues that are helping to figure out the tech stuff of candidate forums, you might get some information. But if you needed maybe a better contact for, you mentioned, I think it was the San Diego League that did that, I can help with that too, if you wanted to reach directly out to them.
Correct. We've sent an email to them, but I didn't know if there's a best practice that the league has nationwide that you're recommending for candidate forums for the timer portion. Because we're trying to standardize the websites. I love Mary's workaround. I mean, it makes it simple. You just point the camera and go. But if there is a best practice, that would be nice.
Yeah, there definitely should be a setting, just because the instructions of that I found online from Zoom were of a previous version. I couldn't imagine them getting rid of the timer with any updates. So it's just a matter of finding the proper and up-to-date instructions.
And it certainly isn't something that's just for forums. I mean, kids in school, and that's a very general thing to have a timer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, especially, yeah, we're doing everything online now, so having a timer it just makes things easier. So I'll go ahead and close out Zoom, but we can always revisit that in the group. So I'm coming back to the image question that Liz posed about making, we're going to make use of two separate images, one for the top of the page, what we call the hero spot, and then one for the thumbnail. So let's first start out with the main image. I clicked on Browse to bring up the media browser. And main image, that is the field that serves two purposes. It sits at the top of the hero spot, at the top of the page, and then as the thumbnail, within any listing. So if it is promoted to the front page, or if it is listed in the calendar, articles, any type of content page that has a list. Here we go. And I'm just going to use an existing file and just go with the first one here. So by clicking submit, I should get a thumbnail of my own here as a preview. My internet is definitely testing me today. That usually would drop in a lot faster. Well, while we're waiting for that to fall in, like I said, that's going to be working double duty. The main image always sits in both spots. With either of these fields, like if you're using the main image field or the alternate hero image field, the difference between them is that the alternate hero image is only going to show up at the top of the page in the hero spot, and it only does that. So let's say if this if we were making use of only the alternate hero image and no main image, then we wouldn't have a thumbnail.
So if you put in you want to make it the main image just be your thumbnail. There are a lot of places where it says you really need to have 800 pixels across. But if you give a main image with 800 pixels across, and then it gets condensed into a thumbnail, you may lose a lot of the way you want it to look. Is that constraint on the main image being at least 800 pixels not relevant when you use a hero image?
No, it would still be relevant because it is the 800 pixels wide is referring to the hero spot, the place at the top of the page. So now that the main image is dropped in, I can save this and we can look at where that hero spot is. Because it is a change to the images, so a change that is not to the summary or the body, because it's a change elsewhere, I have to publish to see it immediately.
Yeah, I created a new page for our forums and I put that hero image. And when we posted a link to that page on Facebook, it showed that image on Facebook.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, no matter if you use the main image or the alternate hero image, it should take that when you're posting it to a social media like Facebook, it should take that image like as the teaser image.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm worried about whatever image I put there in there being um, made smaller so it can be a thumbnail automatically by the system, and that ruins some of the clarity of the image.
I definitely understand that. And there is a way to use then both the main image, the alternate hero image, and then there's a third setting where you can, let's actually add another to the alternate hero image. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and apply the publishing state. I saved it as a draft just so that we could see that the image didn't come up immediately. So now I have this as this is the hero spot. The spot under the title and above the share button is the hero spot. I did not promote it to the front page, but let's go ahead and do that now at the same time as adding an alternate hero image. If I had already promoted the About Us page to the front page, then we would have seen this same image as a thumbnail. So now what I can do is leave the main image in there and add a completely different image as my alternate hero. This main image will remain as the thumbnail, but the hero spot will be replaced with the alternate hero image.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe kids are in school right now.
Right? They don't have a lunch break or
No, you can't eat if you're a kid. It's Zoom time.
While we're at it, I'm going to see if a different browser might give me any assistance here.
Yeah, I think you were the one who told me that Chrome works better than Firefox, and it definitely does for me. I always edit it in Chrome now, which is not the browser I usually use.
Yeah, I mean, and it's only been, I think, just the resizing of images when you've inserted them into a text box. That's
Right.
where it was
That's right.
hard to use Firefox. But yeah, just to ease of use, it's all around easier.
Yep, that's the problem I was having.
I use Safari.
Yeah, I haven't heard of any issues with Safari.
Okay. Good.
It has, yeah.
Wow.
Let's see about killing that and trying that again.
You know, one of the things that came up when we were talking, writing back and forth, was that people were asking where you could get images. And they mentioned that you can always put a credit, you know, if the person asks for a credit.
Mm-hmm.
But once you put it on Milo, it seems to me you may lose some of that information about having to credit. You may on your site credit it, but when somebody picks up the image from the Milo site, maybe in the public area, we may lose some of that concern for giving credit to the right person.
Yeah, it all depends on where that information is added to when the image is uploaded. If it's added to the title text or the file description, that should stick with the image. If it's added to the page that it's being used on, then yeah, that could result in a loss of that information. Just because if Liz, you add that text to your site, and then Mary Jo, you wanted to use that same image on your site, that text is not linked with the image because it's on the page instead.
But I thought that when you uploaded something to the media library, there was a field for, you know, crediting. So that's the information. If you do that, then that information will transfer.
If you add it to the title.
I got a phone call. I'm sorry. I got to take it. Thanks.
But if you add that to the title text or the file description, that text that you add there will stick with the image. The only downside is that the person who would be wanting to use it, they have a chance to edit the title and file description themselves as well. So I would just, you know, if you're going to go that route and make it shareable for other webmasters to use, make the disclaimer clear that the information should not be removed. But the safest way is probably to keep it only to yourself in the media library. That guarantees you that the image will be used properly because only you have access to it.
Yeah, I had that recently, the same image that I was talking about on our forward page. I used a picture that was from our local newspaper, and so I contacted them to make sure it was okay to use, and they said, yeah, as long as you give us credit. So I put that in the description. So if you mouse over it, it says courtesy of Ventura County Star. But I was thinking it might even be more indelible if I were to graphically put courtesy of Ventura County Star on the photograph.
That is very true. Yeah, that's probably like, if all of the other things we had mentioned, that's like the highest degree of security. Adding it to the image, that would mean that the person who would be using it, if they were using it, you know, improperly, they'd have to download it, edit the image, and then re-upload it. Yeah, so
it's part of the actual picture.
Right. So yeah, those are all of the options, and that last one is definitely like the most foolproof way to keep the credit on that image. Okay, we have the page loaded. I'm going to go ahead and essentially the same steps that I did with the main image, I'm going to add just a different image to the alternate hero image field. And just by the dimensions of the image that I used before, where it was the quote about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, that probably was a better size to be used within the hero spot, but we won't worry about that now. I'll try to find a somewhat equally large image. Let's use one of the Vote 411 images. So this one we probably won't make use of, but if you have, it's probably most helpful when you have just a main image. If you want only a thumbnail to show up, you can enable this setting to remove the image from the hero spot. So no image would display at the top of the page, but the thumbnail would still show up. But we don't want to use this time just because I have a separate image in the alternate hero image spot. And because I'm going to promote this to the front page, we'll see the main image as the thumbnail, and then the summary will be the description on that page. And while that's still loading up and I'm waiting for the thumbnail to drop, I'm just going to scroll down so that I can check the promote to front page. Something to do while I'm waiting for that to load.
Well, I'm a little dense here. Why would you put an alternate image in and then click do not display it?
Right. So that's
Oh,
why
I see it.
I removed
go
it just
ahead.
because you're totally right. If you're using an alternate hero image and you select do not display a hero image, it will be as if nothing happened, because the alternate hero image only takes the spot at the top of the page, and this setting is removing the image from the top of the page. They're canceling each other out. So this setting, do not display a hero image, will come in handy only if you're using main image. That's probably the most beneficial time.
Would you just not add an image at the top? I mean, I just don't.
You would
At the top
add
of,
an image, right, it wouldn't be at the top, but you would add the image to the main image field and essentially only have the thumbnail coming up.
so this checkbox, it looks like it's indented under alternate hero image. Is it really just should be to the left as a separate item?
It is essentially a separate item. It is indented to show that it is related to both image fields, but yeah, it does seem that it's
Confusing.
only to the alternate hero image, but it relates to both of those.
That makes more sense.
Where does that term come from, a hero image?
I think it is just a tech term. I'm not sure exactly where it came from, but I've seen it in forums where people refer to the top of the page as the hero spot.
Okay.
And also, just for lack of a better term, we just stuck with that one.
So while we're waiting, so can you talk about ways to avoid having it reduce the quality of the image by making it into a thumbnail? If I put a smaller image in there that I want only to work as a thumbnail, which is maybe 165 pixels, because that seems to be what it is on mine. If I put one in in the main image and then had an alternate hero image that was 800 across,
Mm-hmm.
would I keep the smaller image looking nice rather than giving it in a bigger form and having it scrunched down by the system for a thumbnail?
Yeah, I think having a smaller image here for the main image, and like you said, the larger for the alternate hero image, will get you the result you want. It shouldn't, stretch or shrink down your images at that point.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I hope this is interesting to other people. I'm sorry if I kind of stuck on this issue.
Yeah, you can tell that the silence is that they're into it.
Oh, I hope so. But I mean, when it's hard to get a thumbnail for the list that really encapsulates what you want, so that people can read it. I find that a challenge, but it was partly because I thought I had to work from the banner image.
I see.
The hero image.
Okay. Yeah, hopefully that'll give you some more flexibility, and you'll feel like, whoa, you'll be able to do a lot more with images there.
Yeah. If other people don't want to see this come to fruition, that you can go on to some other questions. I don't want to.
Well, I'm going to see, just because it's probably worth trying. I'm going to see about saving it, and really, it's just me here that is not.
Ooh.
Let's try that again. It is my service here that's not giving us too much to work with. Okay, so it at least hopefully saved what I applied within the alternate hero image. So if I click apply to publish, hopefully the alternate hero image changes. And it did. Like I said earlier, it probably would have been better to have these images swapped. This probably would have served better as a thumbnail. But just for the example, so this was the alternate hero image. And then I did promote the page here to the front page. And now we have the Justice Ginsburg quote as the thumbnail.
And it is an example of how bad it looks if you try to take a big image and scrunch it.
Yeah, yeah. And because you can tell it does get a bit fuzzy. So yeah, a smaller or not as high of a pixel size image for the thumbnail or the main image field would be best.
So are you saying basically that the alternate image shows up at the top of the page if it's present, and if it's present, then the main image is basically used as the thumbnail?
That's right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And if the alternate hero image is being used by itself, this there would be no thumbnail because the main image field would be empty.
And if you don't have an alternate, then they're both the same. If
That's
you
right.
only have a main.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want a thumbnail and you don't want something at the top of the page, let's see, then you would only put it in the alternate, or you click that button.
You would only put it in the main image, and you would click that button. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That do not display hero image setting.
Got it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So then you would have a picture on the promoted front page, but you wouldn't have anything at the top of the page.
That's right.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Think I got it.
Awesome.
It is a little confusing. I mean, it's not very obvious.
Yeah, it's not the easiest thing. We do have a bit of a description there on the editing form, but then we also, let's see if I can make my way over to the documentation. We have a bit of an explanation there. We tried to do a better job of describing it than the editing form does, but let's see. Main image versus alternate hero image is the documentation name.
Yeah. I think it's hard to go to all this documentation sometimes when you're trying to get something done. It's a lot of work that you've done.
Yeah, it's great. I've discovered that I usually find what I'm looking for more easily if I just say Milo in Google and ask my question.
Yeah.
Because I've tried finding it, and I do eventually find it, but if you Google it and you say, you know, how to do such and such on Milo, it usually takes you right to the right place, and there's a lot of good information in there.
Yeah, I think that's probably the easiest way when you don't know the exact terms too. The only time I come into the documentation is if I know the exact name of the documentation I'm looking for. But I am oftentimes Googling too, Milo and, you know, social media or whatever, and that will come up with any written stuff that we have about that.
I think that's generally true for a lot of applications like Word and things. If you're trying to do something, you just Google it and you're more likely to find it than trying to use their help system.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Those of us who grew up looking things up in reference documents in the index, you know, and in the table of contents, things are a lot easier now.
Definitely. Well, did we want to go through just like removing the alternate hero image and like the last bit that you had mentioned, Maddie?
Sure.
Just to wrap that one up, because I don't think Oh, we do have at least one more question here. Tom has a question. Any updates on adding video to the site? There hasn't been any change as far as like I think you're referring to uploading like MP4s or something like that to the media library. We don't have a built-in media player within Milo, so any videos that you'd like to upload would first need to be on either YouTube or Vimeo. And from there, all you would need is the URL. So it would be the vimeo.com/ or youtube.com/. You would bring that. Let's see, once I jump into the new draft, well, it's through any media browser. So any place that you can access the images, either from one of the image fields here or by using the media browser icon. That takes you to the upload screen or upload tab by default, but you'll want to use web. And this is where you paste in the YouTube or Vimeo URL.
Oh, I was using embed code.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, there is that way, but you also have this available to make things easier on you. Because if you're embedding it, that guarantees that it's already uploaded to YouTube, so you can just copy the URL at the top of the browser. And just to follow up on the last question about the media player, the latest one, as of yet, we don't have any plans for incorporating a media player, just because the server space would pose another hurdle. And so we just encourage to continue using these outside services and connecting them to your Milo site, either by uploading them through the YouTube and Vimeo URL or embedding, and that you can embed it from any third-party service. So let's go ahead and remove that. We were going to remove the alternate hero image. Would you like me to enable the do not display a hero image setting now, or would we like to look at the page with the main image as both the thumbnail and hero spot?
I think we should do them one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, do it first without the checkbox and then with the checkbox.
Okay. I'm going to try like last time and see if I just rush to save this. Will it save my removal? Okay, so because it's saved in draft again, it's still there, but hopefully once I publish, it is pushing that change through.
Yeah, that's something that's kind of confusing because there's a number of things that don't show up until you publish. And then I've also noticed, especially like on my phone, there can be like a couple of hours delay before my change shows up, especially if I've made several changes. Has anybody else had that
Yes.
as well? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, I've wasted hours and hours trying to figure out what was wrong, and then the next morning everything was there.
And when you visited on desktop, did you see it logged in and logged out? Like the content?
Yeah, I usually log out just so I can see what it looks like for other people.
Mm-hmm.
But I've noticed that like if you just save your draft, a lot of times the changes aren't there, and then when you publish it, they are there. So you know, there's a number of timing things.
When you do leave it in draft, only the changes to the body and the body with embed code are visible. So when you save it just as draft, changes elsewhere, so everything else but the body and the body with embed code, you do need to publish those changes to be able to see them. So any change to attachments or issues, positions, or any of the image fields. And it does vary depending on the type of content that it is.
Right.
Being that like the home page, for example, is another one of those that has several other sections that require publishing to see it.
So when in doubt, I just publish. I figure it won't stay published long if I don't like it. I'll just republish it differently.
Yeah.
But like I said, even after publishing, especially on my phone, it can take a couple of hours before it shows up there.
Yeah, for that, we have an ongoing ticket because we've had webmasters every now and then kind of reporting similar issues with that. We've looked into it and haven't been able to pinpoint or find a culprit. And so I'll add these notes and tips like to this ongoing ticket and see if there's any more that we can look into at this point. But unfortunately, there wasn't much that our tech team really could find when they did investigate.
I figure it probably has to do with, you know, buffering and stuff like that. And if you know it, then you just wait. But if you don't know, then you can waste a lot of time trying to fix it.
That's definitely true. Well, I hope that webmasters who might be having that issue get to see this webinar and that, you know, gives them the time that they need to take a break if that is the issue that's happening.
Yeah. You know, one thing that you did for me that the others might be interested in is using a tag to allow you to just show certain events on a particular calendar. So the calendars are, what shows on the calendar is a function of the events. So you can have all, in our case, we have all our forms on a calendar. And we use a tag to identify all the ones, but it involves some work on their part. We actually paid a little for it, I believe, but it's a really nice feature. And I was trying to advocate that it was a feature that should be part of Milo, because you do have calendars that you don't want to have people to have to go through the full calendar. You'd like to just isolate certain events on a calendar, or it doesn't even have to be, it has to be events because they're calendars, but we use it for a particular program we have where we have lectures every month. And so we have all of those lectures together. So anyway, it's a nice, you might find that a feature that you would like to encourage them to make available as a general. It's called I guess you'd call it a tagged calendar, because it just uses the events that are tagged with the same thing. But we had to tell them exactly what tags we were going to be using. It wasn't very flexible, but what they produced for us it's nice to have these different calendars.
Yeah, that is. It's still available. It still isn't a part of the just standard service, just because there is a lot of one-on-one that has to be done with either us and your team, or the tech team and your team, just to set those calendars up. But check out the Wheaton site. Chicago is another example that has, I believe they're called issues articles or something along those lines. But those are examples of what Liz was talking about. By using, we created what's called a view, or what I like to refer to as a listing page. And by associating the tag that Liz specified, she uses that tag whenever she wants a specific event to go to that listing page and be shown there. I don't remember off the top of my head the exact pricing, but it definitely is something still available that our tech team would be able to make happen for you. So if you were interested or even just wanted to know more about it and what it really does, just send us an email.
Is this still loading? Maybe you can do that save thing.
Yeah, I tried it last time. Let's hope. I'm going to try it again. Yeah, because it is not allowing me to.
I think you should get your money back on the fast service.
Yeah, I don't think that it's not the service that I was expecting, right? Fingers crossed. Okay, yeah, it is unfortunately not loading for me. But by removing that alternate hero image, we should have, because I published it, we should have seen the Ginsburg quote here instead. Let's see about.
Do you want to send us the link and we can see if it shows up on our computers?
If you'd like, it probably is going to be the same look, but there's the link there. Just because it does confirm that it has been updated, that tells me that it didn't take the change. But I think it's just my luck to have had the internet updated right before our call, and I assumed too quickly that it would be stellar, but it's obviously not.
I hope the company is paying. I hope the Milo's paying for your internet upgrade. You aren't.
Yeah, I'll be able to twist something out of them.
I hope so. My son works for Amazon, and they upgraded his home internet because
awesome.
he needed it.
Yeah, we're all. I mean, now we're working and playing from home, so it's a lot of bandwidth being used at all times.
Well, maybe somebody else has some questions.
Yeah, it's something that we might be able to dive into for the last couple of minutes.
I did have a question, but I forgot what it was. Darn, I should have written it down.
And if it doesn't come back, that's what emails are for.
You're right. So the calendars that you guys were talking about, I was trying to look at that, but I think I opened something else on top of it. But so essentially you're tagging events and creating multiple calendars, or just, different pages that show specific tagged events. Is that the approach?
Well, she could show you.
Yeah. So I like your menu across the top also. I don't think we have that.
Oh yeah, and that's something, the menu across the top is an included service. So any league who wants to request that always can, and it's free of charge for us to make that theme change on your site.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and your donate and join buttons are nice and high. Mm-hmm. I've been messing around with those too. I just, basically made the join into join and renew, and added some tags to that. There was something about the forms.
Okay.
But I think I was able to.
We haven't been able to do the renew so that their information is already in there. Right now, we make them fill out the form again, which is kind of a pain. But I guess it means we have the updated information.
Yeah, we have them do that too. And we did not have anything on the form saying whether they were renewing or joining. So actually just last night, I added some radio buttons for that. But I noticed that the radio buttons are, vertical. I don't know if there's a way to make them horizontal, but they're fine, one above the other. And then for the title, I just put please select one, even though the field name is join or renew.
I see.
That seemed to work.
For to make them all in line, I believe that you would have to make the label in line. So it's down, I don't know if this page will or will let me go to the web form. Okay, yeah. Let me actually add a question here. So if I add, well, and the label doesn't matter, but just so that we have some options. I'm hearing some background audio. Okay, I think it's
Is it another
gone.
participant or something?
I think she just muted.
Who could that be?
I'm not sure. So to add options, you always need a safe key. This is kind of like the nickname of the option that it represents. Or you can just have something very simple, just as long as it's divided by the that straight up and down symbol.
Yeah, you've got like the internal key and then the external label.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
On either side of that vertical bar.
Right. And this this internal key will come in handy if you are editing the email message, like the content of the email message has what are tokens, and they will represent a value. Most of these values will come from a respondent's answers to the form. So that's why we have to use tokens, because we don't know what the value is yet. So we have the options added, and then the radio boxes are just the default look. The alternative is a list box, which is this here. But this is the setting that I was referring to, the label display. If you set that to inline, it not only should make your options side by side, but it is also going to make the label in align with the options. So rather than the label being above and then the options, it's going to be all in the same line.
Okay.
So let's save that.
That's probably what I need to do then. So it's in line.
Yeah, and it's under display, and it's label display, and the option should be inline.
Okay. So, because the thing is that the field itself has a name, and then it's options within that, right? So,
yes.
And then like in the spreadsheet in the file, whatever the choices are, if there's only one field, and it actually has the choice. So yeah, I'll have to play around with it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't think I lost you at the end a bit.
Yeah,
there.
I think I wasn't expressing myself very clearly there, but I think I kept whipping around to different considerations, and I'll just go play around with it. But definitely, I had not looked at that inline thing, so I will give that a try.
Yeah, try that one out. And then if, well, what you were talking about before, if you're making use of the description, that could also kind of serve as your label, or at least telling people what to do to answer this question. Because along with inline, another option is just to have the label not display at all. So I don't know if
Right.
that was an option for you, but with that, if you choose none for label display,
Mhm.
your radio boxes would probably show up in the line rather than being
Yeah.
continuous.
I think that, well, I don't remember. I did it last night, but it was late. And so I'm a little fuzzy on what I actually did. I guess I can go look at it up, but I don't want to waste everybody's time.
No, it's not wasting time.
Yeah, I think this is a good bit to end it on. There's always a lot of information with forms, so the more that we can get into, the better.
Yeah, it was very, our membership chairman sent me an email last night asking if I could add join or renew to the form. So I told her, yep, let me see if I can figure it out. That's usually how I end up learning how to do this stuff.
Yeah. And this screen came up, it's definitely a different theme than we're used to, only because I was trying to use an identical form key. So the system said no.
Nothing like that, no. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing is your internal keys have to be unique. Your label, the thing that the people can see can be the same, but not the internal key.
Right.
Are you
So-
sure that the problem isn't with the Milo servers? Because you've been getting that error message from
It
the
doesn't-
site.
It doesn't seem to be. I was trying it with my phone earlier and I wasn't having really much issue. And that was off of my Wi-Fi trying just my cell service.
I see.
So
Well,
yeah.
good luck.
And if also with you two, if any of you are having a similar issue, then that would be worth looking into with the tech team. But it definitely so far seems very personal. But here's an example of that in line.
Oh, I see.
It's very simple because I don't have any other form questions, but by making the label display in line, then all of your options are in line as well.
Yeah, and that's where you could put, please select one if you want to, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if it's a radio button, it is one. You can't, you can only select.
Right. But it's yeah, that's obviously true. But sometimes
you do
it's
have a
helpful to
setting.
the person filling out the form, to give them a little information.
And you're able to, any select options form component, you can make it so that multiple options are selectable or that you can choose
Then
from.
it turns into checkboxes.
Mm-hmm.
Or does it? It should, does it?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
I'll save y'all the headache.
Say goodbye.
I think that is, I think I was a little too hopeful. I thought, maybe it's going to go a little faster. But it is unfortunately not. The multiple setting though, it is within the, I think it's right under the options that you choose or the options that you specify. Multiple and required or other are near each other, but you can select multiple so that gives the person answering the chance to choose more than one for that question.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys can see this. So this is the one with the radio button.
Okay, yeah.
And then,
Oh, yeah.
and this is the one where they can choose more than one, so they get check boxes.
I see.
Good.
So
Yeah.
that was, and I made them required. So, so they have to choose something.
Awesome.
Maddie, were you a librarian before you?
I was a software engineer,
Oh,
data analyst,
oh, okay.
but yeah, certain amount of precision goes with that, I guess,
Yeah.
and curiosity.
Awesome. Well, I think, Maddie, you put it best. When it comes to forms, jumping in and just trying these different settings out is really some of the best ways to learn. But I think that we can go ahead and stop our call here. I appreciate all of you for bearing with me, and you know, we did get through some things despite this internet. But I will quickly work to get this recording up on our GoToStage channel.
Maybe you don't.
Maybe, yeah, maybe we'll say technical difficulties this week, right?
But I actually did learn some things. So I did learn. I wrote down a few things, and I know my friend will be very happy that I can tell her
Oh
that
yeah,
she hasn't lost everything.
definitely, yeah, because I know that the webmaster who I was working through that workaround with to tell her, you know, disable rich text, then enable rich text. It was definitely unnerving for her to see nothing because she thought that everything had disappeared.
Yeah.
So it's understandable that it, you know, when you see that, your first reaction is not to act calmly.
That's right. Well, thank
one
you
thing
very
I
much.
wanted to
Definitely.
add about the forms that I learned, just in case you guys aren't aware of this. It's one of those things where as soon as you make the change, it's published,
Oh, mhm.
you know.
Yeah, that's worth noting.
Which was because I was thinking, well, I'll do this as a draft and then I'll show it to the others and see if they like it. There is no draft. You know? Once you save it, it's there. So just another thing to know.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that is definitely worth noting because getting so used to that method with the rest of our content, it's surprising.
Right.
Definitely.
Makes you a little bit more timid because you don't want to break anything.
Well, the good thing is nothing has been broken by a webmaster, and anything that is broken or is deleted, we can usually recover it. So you should never have to worry.
Good to know we've always got you.
Yeah.
And we appreciate that.
Yes.
Well, we appreciate all of you. Again, thank you all for taking the time. I think webmasters will find this recording helpful. So as much as I'm just like shameful to put myself up there with this intranet, I think webmasters will appreciate it.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Definitely. Thank y'all.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take
Bye,
care.
everybody.
See you next time.
Yeah.